Scandals. Every president's had one. But while most presidents are only known for one big scandal, Donald Trump has truly changed the game. And that's why The Daily Show will be counting down Donald Trump's 100 most tremendous scandals.
President Trump expressed interest in buying Greenland.
And he went out and bought a big yacht. And he had a very interesting life. I won't go any more than that because you're Boy Scout, so I'm not going to tell you what he did.
The price tag for President Trump's July 4th salute to America is more than $5.3 million.
Members at Mar-a-Lago are influencing how President Trump runs the Department of Veterans Affairs.
I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted. I didn't get thank you. That's okay. He's looking down. Maybe he's looking up. I don't know.
Appearing to push aside the Prime Minister of Montenegro to get in front for a photo op.
Banning residents from enrolling in trusted traveler programs.
And ripping up memos, letters, things he's finished reading or does not like.
Threatened to bomb sites of cultural significance, an action that could be a war crime.
Someone as despicable as Hitler didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
Scaramucci said, "I'm not Steve Bannon. I'm not trying to suck my own."
China awarded 7 new trademarks to Ivanka Trump's company. It will not reveal its visitor logs.
You want to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well, I
Hispanic
would.
Caucus.
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
Frederick Douglass is an example of somebody who's done an amazing job and is being recognized more and more.
You will be receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
When you wash your hands, it takes you 5 times longer. You know, the water's uncovered. You got soap, you can't get it off. I won't talk about the fact that people have to flush their toilet 15 times.
Greta must work on her anger management problem. Chill, Greta, chill.
I think there's probably, possibly drugs involved.
I love this guy right here.
Blasted the FBI over the Florida school shooting. They are spending too much time trying to prove Russian collusion.
Reducing the number of mail sorting machines and removing collection boxes.
You know, who gives a about the Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Damn, that's exhausting. And that brings us to tonight's final scandal, coming in at number 76. It involves the Secret Service, Saudi sheiks, and a hotel that gets a 1-star Yelp review from the U.S. Constitution. Before Donald Trump was in the Oval Office, he was in business. Every business.
Gentlemen, Oreo has rejected my bid, so we lick race for it, right here with double stuffed gold.
That's right. Our president likes his Oreos the way he likes his pants, double stuffed. So when Trump ran for president, it's no surprise that he saw dollar signs. During his campaign, candidate Trump paid businessman Trump nearly $12.5 million for expenses like airfare, office space, and meals. They even dropped $2,000 on Trump Ice, the only bottled water that's 100% Angus beef. The grift was going great until the unthinkable happened.
Donald J. Trump will become the 45th president of the United States.
Which was a problem, because the president's job is to protect and defend the Constitution or whatever, not to get rich. So Donald Trump selflessly promised the nation that he would give it all up.
My 2 sons are going to be running the company. They're not going to discuss it with me.
That's right. Trump would part with his precious businesses, and his only consolation, not having to talk to his sons. But much like those folders, Trump's promise proved to be empty.
The president-elect has decided he will not sell his assets or place them in a blind trust.
That's where things get conflicts of interest.
As president, he's been steering government money to his own companies for the entire time. And that means then to his own pockets. He spends nearly every weekend, as you know, at one of his golf clubs. Secret Service, they don't stay for free. He charges them to stay there. Federal spending records show the taxpayers have paid Trump's businesses more than $900,000 just since he took office.
Getting paid for vacations? This dude's a damn Instagram model. According to Eric Trump, who is officially running the family business while daddy focuses on the good of the country, the Trump organization only charges the Secret Service,
we charge them like, $50.
Like $50 a night for a hotel room. But according to the receipts, the real bill is more than $650, which means they're either being way overcharged or there's one Secret Service agent who absolutely loves Toblerone. But upcharging suckers who have to stay at his property is one thing. The big bucks are in visitors who choose to stay there. Because You never know when lining the president's pockets might be the thing to get him to rewrite federal policy in your favor.
We know that foreign governments are spending money there in order to curry favor with the President of the United States.
The Philippines, Kuwait, the government of Saudi Arabia, through its lobbyists, paid for 500 nights and rooms. And we've seen corporate clients do it too. T-Mobile, which needs approval for a big merger from the Trump administration, they've spent more than $195,000 on rooms there.
Yes, foreign governments and corporations are greasing the Trump's palms. And from the looks of it, greasing their hair and faces too. Of course, Trump isn't the only one winning here. The president's financial entanglements with foreign governments have given Americans something better than money: the opportunity to learn what the emoluments clause is.
Emolument is basically a payment.
Yes, according to so-called lawyers familiar with the so-called Constitution, receiving money or gifts from foreign governments is illegal. But on the other hand,
You people with this phony emoluments clause
can't argue with that. And even if Trump loses in November, he will still be the first president to literally rake in billions of dollars while serving in office. Never before has a living president earned this many dead presidents.
I'm really rich.
You certainly are now. And if the national economy is lying in ruins at his feet, at least Donald Trump finally found a business he could be successful at.
If you're smart and persevere, there's a good chance you'll come out on top.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
Alternative facts, whether they may have had some kind of Russian money funneling through them to help Trump.
Tax dollars to travel by private jet.
The $43,000 soundproof phone booth and a sweetheart deal on a $50 a month Capitol Hill rental from a lobbyist.
$139,000 price tag for new doors.
High-end, taxpayer-funded dinners.
A $300 million contract.
Worked for a place that marketed a masculine toilet for well-endowed men.
It's a wonderful line. I own some of it. Go buy it today.
Kellyanne, what was my temperament yesterday?
Very calm, no temper tantrum.
Purging the government of perceived enemies.
Push through Jared and Ivanka's security clearances.
Using private email servers.
Sweetheart deal to Jeffrey Epstein.
Abuse allegations from both of his former wives.
The raid has continued to court political controversy, particularly with regards to the death of the Navy SEAL.
I said, you gotta clean your floors, you gotta clean your forests.
Urging his millions of Twitter followers to boycott an American company.
I said, please don't be too nice.
Shoot migrants in the legs, fortifying a border wall with a water-filled trench stocked with snakes or alligators.
They want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. Crazy Elizabeth Warren, or as I affectionately call her, Pocahontas.
Obama wiretapped him in Trump Tower. That came from a Breitbart article that was a total conspiracy theory.
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact.
Coming in at number 51. It involves Twitter, a Category 5 hurricane, and the worst use of a Sharpie since your college roommate drew a Nature's fury. In September of 2019, a storm was brewing in the Atlantic.
Hurricane Dorian making its way toward the United States. Forecasters expecting it to make a dramatic turn to the north.
I'm not sure that I've ever even heard of the Category 5. I knew it existed. The Category 5 is something that I don't know that I've ever even heard the term, other than I know it's there.
But Hurricane Dorian was nothing compared to the tempest about to blow the roof off the Oval Office. Hurricane Donna.
The National Weather Service had to scramble to correct misinformation from President Trump about Dorian.
President Trump tweeted, in addition to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama will most likely be hit much harder than anticipated.
The National Weather Service corrected the president, saying Alabama will not see any impacts from Dorian.
Suddenly, America was caught between two claims. But who to believe? Scientists who have dedicated their lives to the study of weather patterns? Or a man who thinks wind is caused by birds flapping too hard?
This is a tough hurricane. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
As the people of Alabama braced for either massive destruction or slightly overcast skies, there was still time to avoid disaster. All President Trump had to say was, sorry, I was wrong. The hurricane is not going to hit Alabama.
Alabama's going to get a piece of it. It looks like it is a very, very powerful hurricane.
A great place. It's called Alabama, and Alabama could even be in for at least some very strong winds, and something more than that it could be.
That's right. Although the experts tried to make Trump understand, he had already boarded up his ears. Hurricane Dorian had moved on, narrowly missing Alabama by 600 miles, but Hurricane Donald was just forming. After seeing an ABC News report on his mistake, Trump gained new strength, tweeting,
"Such a phony hurricane report by lightweight reporter Jon Karl of ABC News."
It was a direct attack on science, and also on Twitter user Jonathan Karl, who is a Kentucky pastor and not ABC News anchor Jon Karl, an innocent victim of Hurricane Donald. Over the next 36 hours, Hurricane Donald seemed to die down, but then it returned. This time with a Sharpie.
In a White House video released Wednesday, Trump displays a modified National Hurricane Center forecast. The graphic appears to have been altered with a Sharpie to indicate a risk the storm would move into Alabama.
I know that Alabama was in the original forecast. They actually gave that a 95% chance.
That's right. Donald Trump tried to redraw a map with a Sharpie. Have some respect for our intelligence. At least learn Photoshop. But what if the culprit wasn't Trump at all?
That map that you showed us today looked like it almost had like a Sharpie.
I don't know.
It was a real mystery. Who could have possibly taken a Sharpie to a hurricane map? It had to be someone with an almost pathological obsession with using the permanent markers, as if they needed their marks to be the boldest, the loudest, the most permanent. But who? There would be no way to know for certain. The storm raged for days, growing in strength until it became a Category 5 tweet storm. Government agencies that most Americans had never even heard of were transformed into hazardous projectiles by the gale.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross threatened to fire top employees at NOAA on Friday after the agency's Birmingham office contradicted Trump's claim.
What began as one bad tweet had escalated into a full-scale political scandal with not one, not two, but 3 government investigations. Like a Sharpie drawing a fake path of a hurricane, it's a scandal that simply can't be erased. All because there was a hurricane over a year ago that had a 5 to 20% chance of hitting Alabama, but ultimately didn't.
President Trump says he's trying to find out more about the whistleblower.
He paid just $750 in federal income tax.
Firing Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman and Gordon Sondland.
Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came?
Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here?
Little Rocket Man
tried to manipulate the count by adding a citizenship question to the census form.
Indicted or convicted 6 of the president's associates.
Advised staff members at the Natural Resources Conservation Service to avoid saying the term climate change.
Syria also has a relationship with the Kurds, who, by the way, are no angels, okay?
Get that son of a bitch off the field. He's fired!
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Secret Chinese bank account
Called American soldiers who died in war suckers and losers.
Executive time in the Oval Office every day.
Illegally mismanaging his charitable foundation.
Taking intelligence given to the U.S. by an ally, sharing it with an adversary in the Oval Office.
Despite the constant negative press, Covfefe.
Questionable commutations and or pardons.
Hush money payments made to porn star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal.
2 Iraqis came here to this country, were radicalized, and they were the masterminds behind the Bowling Green massacre.
A full-throated Trump endorsement of accused child molester Roy Moore.
Russia offered a bounty to Taliban fighters to kill U.S. troops in Afghanistan.
How did you get home? I don't remember. How'd you get there? I don't remember. Where is the place? I don't remember. How many years ago was it? I don't know.
God damn. Just feel like I took an all-inclusive vacation to Scandals Beach Resort. Scandals? Coming in at number 26, it involves tiki torches, the KKK, and a golf cart you wouldn't want to be stuck behind on the 9th hole. Donald Trump is famous for being quick with an insult.
He's going like, I don't remember.
He's insulted reporters.
I'm the president and you're fake news.
Senators.
This Elizabeth Warren, I call her goofy. Crying Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. Bunch of losers.
And even voters to their face.
How stupid are the people of Iowa?
But there's one group he's been strangely reluctant to insult. White supremacists.
The moment that's jolted the Republican Party, Trump's response to receiving the support of former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke.
I don't know, honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
That's right. Donald Trump launched his 2016 campaign by going full Mariah on David Duke.
I don't know her.
Oh, please. David Duke is the Betty White of racism. He's been in the game forever, and everyone knows who he is. Saying you hate David Duke is literally the easiest thing in the world. Even his plastic surgeon hates him. Once Trump took office, racists everywhere rejoiced. Hate crime skyrocketed, and white supremacists rallied around Trump as their new icon.
Hail Trump! Hail our people!
I mean, who wouldn't look at this guy and see Master Race? Then, in August 2017,
Jews will not replace us!
White supremacists threw themselves a terror parade in Charlottesville, Virginia that ended in the murder of an anti-fascist counter-protester. And Donald Trump once again found it hard to condemn the bad guys.
I think there's blame on both sides. You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
That's right. In a fight between racists and anti-racists, Trump said there were very fine people on both sides. Amazing. It's like donating to Kanye's presidential campaign and Taylor Swift's. Sometimes, Trump doesn't even wait to be asked about white supremacists. He just finds them himself on Twitter, retweeting accounts like White Genocide TM. Good thing they trademarked that. It could have been stolen by some men's hair dye. This summer, Trump even retweeted a video of his supporters yelling, "White power."
White power! White power!
It's the retweets that get you in trouble.
You don't get a bigger honor from the president than that. It goes retweet, pardon, Medal of Freedom. But no matter how much Trump makes it clear that he's on the same page with white supremacists, people keep giving him the chance just one more time to finally denounce them once and for all.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing
to
do
specifically
that,
do it? Well, go ahead,
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call him? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Okay, stand back and stand by. That's the worst way to ever condemn something. It's like breaking up with someone and then texting them TTYL. Seriously, Donald Trump struggles so hard to do something so simple. It's like he's trying to walk down a ramp, or walk downstairs, or hold his wife's hand. Of all Donald Trump's scandals, supporting white supremacists should have been the easiest to avoid. I mean, what could possibly explain why he keeps stumbling into situations where racists and Nazis think they have his support? I guess we'll never know.
Donald Trump and his father built the family's empire by dodging taxes for decades. It reportedly included instances of outright fraud.
Peaceful protesters were tear gassed.
These aren't people. These are animals.
Conditions at migrant detention facilities are simply horrific.
President Trump swiftly fires the acting attorney general.
Fired 5 independent watchdogs.
The diverting of billions of dollars from the Pentagon budget to fund the president's border wall.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
China should continue building these concentration camps for the mass detention of Uyghur Muslims because President Trump thought that, quote, was exactly the right thing to do.
And then we fell in love. Okay? No, really.
It's funny, the relationships I have, the tougher and meaner they are, the better I get along with it.
Disbanded this commission that he had set up to back up his false claims about voter fraud.
Playing another round of golf, and that was his 284th visit to one of his golf clubs since taking office.
Our media is the enemy of the people. Somebody said I should not criticize judges. Okay, I'll criticize judges.
Trump has now made more than 20,000 misleading or false statements.
The president, who routinely skips reading the president's daily briefing.
Mailmen selling the ballots. They're being sold. They're being dumped in rivers.
Russia wanted Donald Trump to win, that his campaign was eager to accept Russia's help.
The president said, I need loyalty. I expect loyalty.
Woodward pressed the president about MBS's role in Khashoggi's murder. Trump
Trump told Woodward, I saved his ass.
Another woman comes forward with another claim about Donald Trump's behavior.
Separating children from their families at the border.
This is CNN Breaking News.
President Trump has been impeached.
How does he even have the energy for this many scandals? I mean, I have a theory, but our lawyer said that we don't have any proof, so we can't put it on the list. Number one is still ahead, but now let's look at scandal number 2. Gather around for this one, everybody. Well, not too close, keep 6 feet. A global pandemic would be a crisis for any president, but it would take Donald Trump to turn coronavirus into not just a scandal, but one of the biggest scandals of all time.
You can call it a germ, you can call it a flu, you can call it a virus. You know, you can call it many different names. I'm not sure anybody even knows what it is.
Trump was working on screwing up the pandemic before there was even a pandemic to screw up.
The Trump administration disbanding the National Security Council's pandemic unit in 2018.
We worked very well with that office. It would be nice if the office was still there.
And when the outbreak began in Wuhan, the Trump screw-ups really began taking off. As China tried to hide how bad things were, Trump helped them cover it up because he wanted a trade agreement.
It's all taken care of, and China's working very hard on the problem.
That's called the art of the deal. The next screw-up came when the virus reached America.
You have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to 0.
Just as China was finally admitting that this thing was more viral than a white girl dancing on TikTok, Trump began doing the opposite.
This is a flu. This is like a flu. It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. You're going to have a kid with the sniffles, and they'll say it's coronavirus, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, according to Trump, COVID was something you could simply ignore, like consent.
When you're starved, they let you do it.
But even though COVID was no more harmful than just a case of the sniffly whifflies, he still put together a task force led by the smartest guy he could find, one office over. And this guy had lots of experience when it comes to not handling a public health crisis. While Trump continued to promise that COVID
is going away, and it will go away, and we're going to have a great victory.
He did everything he could think of to make sure it stuck around.
So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
With the masks, it's going to be really a voluntary thing. You can do it. You don't have to do it. I'm choosing not to do it.
The Trump administration dismissed the PPE shortage and instead encouraged reusing supplies.
I don't take responsibility at all.
Eventually, Trump was persuaded to take the pandemic a little more seriously.
I am confident that by counting and continuing to take these tough measures,
even if he pretty clearly wasn't happy about it.
Okay.
Hey, I know how you feel, Donald. I get cranky too when the pandemic pulls me away from my 18 hours of golf. But before long, the second wave of screw-ups would begin as Trump went full snake oil salesman.
Hydroxychloroquine. Try it, if you'd like. And then I see the disinfectant. Is there a way we can do something like that? By injection.
Turns out the D in DJT stands for doctor, and the J stands for Jesus. Did he just say that we should inject ourselves with bleach? Still, his people rejoiced, sharing the good news about why masks are bad.
You're a bunch of pussies wearing masks!
You're violating federal law!
Return to your service of Satan! Back off!
And showing up at his rallies without a care in the world.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
As the U.S. became a global leader in coronavirus, it seemed like the good times would never end until it all came crashing down.
Breaking news overnight. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump test positive for the coronavirus.
At least 28 people connected to President Trump have tested positive for COVID.
It's a sobering reminder that coronavirus is real, and even the most powerful people, even the President of the United States, are vulnerable to this terrible disease. Nah, you can't hurt Donald Trump. His blood is made of cheeseburgers.
I'm immune. I could come down and start kissing everybody.
So even as Trump's first term comes to an end,
COVID.
His most impressive scandal keeps soaring to new heights.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10.
Be honest. When Tom Hanks caught the Rona back in March, did you really think we'd still be dealing with this shit in November? 8 months. It's been 8 months. I'm starting to think having a president with an attention span of 8 seconds was a mistake. Well, you've seen Donald Trump's top 99 scandals. The man is a tax-dodging, Putin-loving, pussy-grabbing, bleach-drinking crybaby. Which brings us to his most tremendous scandal. He's somehow still president. How? How is he still the president? You would think at number 60, somebody would have said something. Unbelievable.